What it do, man? How you doing this evening, man?
Hey, you already know who it is and what it is. Greasy gang or don't bang, you know what I'm saying? And first and foremost, let me start off by saying Avocare Spark. It is an energy drink, health energy drink. I drink it in replacement of doing Monster, Red Bull, Bangs. Those type of drinks right there, they're just for market purposes. For the masses, they taste great, but not everything that tastes great is good for your health. Do some research on it. It's bad for your heart. Avocare Spark has no sugar, and it only has 120 milligrams of caffeine. 1 cup of coffee is 90 milligrams. All you need is vitamins for your neurons in your brain. That's all you need. And Avocare Spark is a blend of unique vitamins that does that for you. So, besides that, my channel, for those who do not know, I do entertainment, I do podcasts, I do educational videos, I do pranks, you name it, I'm in there. So today, we are going to address, a couple of different topics. We're not just going to stay on one. This is an educational man we have here, you know what I'm saying, along with myself. And so whether we agree or disagree, we're going to have some real grown men dialogue. And we're going to see the different perspectives on why certain people view certain things the way they do, such as myself, and why does this smart gentleman of his own see things the way that he does as well, even though we're talking about the same topic. So, just one last time, do a quick brief shout out, for the Greasy Gang channel, you feel me? Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Already, man. This is your boy, Mr. E-Boss of the Southside Bosses. And I put it down for B.O.S.S Radio and the Southside Bosses Marketing and Media. So make sure if you ever want to get it down, and make sure you get your views up. You want to get known in certain regions. You want to get known in certain niches. And you need to hit us up here at B.O.S.S Radio and Southside Bosses, because I'm telling you, this is how we get your own. We got a style nobody else can compare with. And all my listeners already know when I come with something, I come with some controversy. So we always going to have some very interesting talk. And I can never have too many guests on the show, but they always have to be grown people. You have to be a grown man, grown woman when you come on our show, because simple fact, everybody has an asshole. And I'm not going to wipe your asshole like you ain't going to wipe my asshole. So why don't we just leave that to each other's, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I wipe my asshole, you wipe your asshole. That's how I feel about the situations, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I love having different perspectives on it, because I believe in the sharing of cultures and things of that nature. And a lot of people, they get tended on that one track mind, and then that's when what they call prejudices, that's when they come up, and I ain't just talking about racism. I'm talking about, because prejudices affects everybody. That's one thing that we don't have any real idea about, is because we keep saying that, oh, it's them, and then you got to understand, you got to pull that needle out your own eye, or the straw out your own eye, whatever the saying is. You got to fix your own stuff. You got to wipe your own ass.
Simple as that. So, viewers of Greasy Gang, y'all already know how I feel about these topics. Let's see and let's dig into the mind of this intelligent man right in front of us. So today, let's get into the first topic. We got the 4 key concepts of a long-term relationship. What do you believe entails a long-term relationship? Not having a long-term relationship, but keeping one. And as my viewers know, I'm going to reiterate what I got to say on my perspective here. I do believe that the sexual, the communication part, the financial, and the religious, those are the 4 main key components that you have to have, in my humble abode opinion, that you need to keep a long-term relationship. And the reason why is because I view it this way. Communication, let's start off there. In order to know your partner, you must know them inside and out. Mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually, all that. Because a partner is supposed to be someone who aids you. Before we get into a relationship, you're doing life on your own. A partner is supposed to make your job half as easier, which is why in the Bible it says when a man leaves his home, he looks for a wife, they two become one. You feel what I'm saying? So therefore, your partner is supposed to make your work that you're doing by yourself 100% half. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to help her. She's supposed to help you. Y'all supposed to become one union. So the communication part is definitely key, because a lot of people in modern day, especially my generation, they believe, oh, if you just got good sex and you entertainer, that's all you need. It's wrong. I don't believe that. 2, the religious part. The reason why that I personally feel, not just because the Bible says so in 2 Corinthians, but I personally do believe that if you guys are equally yoked in a relationship when it comes to your belief, long term, y'all can be able to teach your children the same exact thing that y'all both believe. Now, is it true that someone can be with someone who is a Buddhist and someone is a Christian? Sure. But at the end of the day, when it comes to raising a child, they're going to have to rock with something. They're going to have to rock with what the father believes or what the mother believes. Something got to give. And so, like I said, my belief when it comes to that, you guys have to be on the same page, at least believe in the same God, because as we know, Christians, the Christian web does come down to Catholic. You got Protestants, you got Mormons, you got different Christians, you know what I'm saying? So therefore, just because we're Christian does not believe we are equally yoked, because I'm not a Mormon. And even though we believe in the same God, there's just some things that Mormons do that I don't, because I grew up in a Baptist church, you feel me? So even when it comes to that, it just depends on you as a person, what you want to deal with in that regard. 3rd thing, sexually, right? And honestly, these aren't in order. These are just what I believe you have to have. But let's get to the sexual part. A lot of people, again, do not believe that sex is that important in a relationship. A lot of divorces come from because the partner's not being pleased correctly.
And it's legal to get divorced because you ain't giving up the nookie.
Exactly. And so if you know your partner inside and out when it comes to sex, or just do your very best to do everything that your partner loves, you know what I'm saying, to sexually satisfy that individual, that's all you can do is your best, and try your best to get to know them on that level. Because if you're not giving your all in that department and they leave you, you can't be mad at nobody but yourself. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't just go halfway on the sexual part. You go 100% the best you can to satisfy your woman, your man, to make sure that in the back of your mind, they're not leaving you for that reason. Okay? Last but not least, I'm going to hit it with the financial. Again, most people sleep on this, but it is definitely important. You ain't got to be rich, but at least be responsible with your money and make a certain amount, depending on who you're dating, make a certain amount for children, because most likely you're a person who wants children. Okay. If you're a person who wants children, you know that kids is going to be a big burden on your assets, your money. You know what I'm saying? And they're not really a burden. They're a blessing. But I'm just saying in the future, you know, if you want kids, you're going to have to drop something to take care of them. It's not about you no more. So therefore, you're going to want a job typically paying $50 or more a year, not only to have money for yourself on the side, but to take care of your children, your offspring, things of that nature. Also, to take care of your wife. You know what I'm saying? And your wife has to have some type of income. Depends who you are. You feel me? Because if you Bill Gates or something, your wife ain't even got to work. But I'm just saying, if you're the type of person that believes in 50-50 type relationship, 50-50 meaning like you guys are a team and you work together, you just combine your assets and your money and you go from there. Because everybody, you know, wants to run their boat, their ship differently than other people. So there's some people who want to be in a relationship and they don't want their wife to work at all. You know what I'm saying? Then there's other people who just look at it like, okay, me and my wife are both going to work, but we're just going to be a team with it. You know what I'm saying? She's going to bring what she brings to the table. I'm going to bring what I bring. We're going to combine and we're going to, you know, super team like that. So with that being said, that's me on all 4 of those topics right there when it comes to the 4 key components. So we're going to toss it over to my man's right here and see if he's going to add more, less, or just agree with the 4 and elaborate.
I got to ask you, the way you broke down those 4, man, was immaculate. I got to give it to you, man.
Appreciate you, man.
And tell the truth, you made some very, very great points on them. You know what I'm saying? Because for the most part, you know, I want to touch on them, each one of them at the same time, and then I'm going to go into mine. But it all starts at communication. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put them in order because you can't have neither one of those 3 unless you can communicate. You can't communicate. Like if you got this person and, you know what I'm saying, and you you realize y'all have the same religion. How did you realize that? We talked about it.
Right.
Once you realize that y'all have the same religion, y'all got a lot of more things in common. Now you're starting to fall like, hey, I look at this person. I could do something with this person. So how do you get that person to do something with you? How you get them to bump uglies with you? How do you get them to rub private parts with you? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But that's communication. You gotta communicate. Hey, look here. I've been seeing you. I like the way you looking. I like the way you moving. And I could just see what I can be. Let me keep it. You got to communicate that to them. You got to let them know that you feel them that certain way, and they got to communicate back, or it's rape.
Exactly.
Say like
exactly.
that.
Consent.
But,
Definitely important.
Exactly. And as for finances, how are you going to make a financial future if you don't really talk about, hey, look, most people, they don't even like talking about what they bring in. You can't do that with your significant other. Your significant other is called the significant for a reason. Sign if I can. So
that's right.
If you got to let them, you give them that power once you become married. So the finances has to be known by both parties in order for them to know exactly what they can and cannot do. So all of that boils out of communication. Now I will say this: I used to believe that same thing. I used to be gung ho for this is the rules, this is how it's set up, this is how it's supposed to work. And then I ran into people who had other cultures. Mm-hmm. And talking to them, not just other perspectives, but other cultures, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They never seen it the way I thought it was. They never seen it this way. Mm-hmm. You got some cultures out there that don't thrive off of actual money. They do other things. They bargain. They grow their own material. They a close-knit community. We said there's something about the Mormons earlier. The Mormons don't have to, they can get out here and they can get jobs and stuff. But the Amish is another good people that actually bring up. They don't actually have to get jobs. Their jobs is building their communities up. That's it. They don't deal with the money thing. Whatever's harvested is split equally because everybody put in equal work. Stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Some of the marriages they're just happy because people just feel like, hey, I love you. It was just straight like that. And they're together for 50-something years. Whether they have to be together or not, you know what I'm saying? Because I believe in that community, you can't get a divorce. But, for them, it worked. You got other cultures that dwell on just the money. Look at Trump and Melania, Donald and Melania Trump. You think they together because of love?
No, not at all. Not even close.
So love is no way in it. Okay. Love is nowhere in it. Do you think spirituality is even in it?
Nah.
Religion? No. But
just money.
They went to the White House.
Yeah.
They took it to the White House. So I just really believe that it comes down to your culture. It comes down to who you are as a person and who you attract, because you can attract somebody who's probably of a different religion. And then because you sharing knowledge of y'all sharing that culture, you sharing your religion, she sharing her religion, you actually come to a better understanding of your religion, of your own religion, because they open up things to you that you would have never seen. That's what I believe the equally yoked comes from. If this man and this woman, because you can't be equally yoked. I'm sorry, and I know a lot of people gonna hate me, but you can't be equally yoked to a same sex. I'm sorry, you can't do it. It does not work that way.
I agree.
And so when you got that balance, because it's a balance that has to be taken. Once that balance is achieved, the world opens up to you. That's why we have power couples out there.
Yeah.
And then you have these men who rule and they have all these concubines or these other, or you have this woman who rules and she has all these male concubines or whatever. There has to be a balance that's achieved, and you can only achieve that through exercising your culture and being who you are. You cannot achieve that being somebody else.
This is facts.
And so I'm gonna go on and say my 4 key concepts is culture. That's the number one. Culture, mind. If you can't think straight, you can't do anything, and you can't practice your own culture. You can't practice your culture. You can't have pride in yourself. Nobody wants to be with anybody that don't have pride.
Yep.
If you can't have pride in yourself, how are you gonna have pride in me?
Yep.
And then acceptance, because you have to be able to accept anything that you learn from the other person who is trying to make your balance work. Once you achieve those, then you actually achieve everything else. The finances, you're working together. You're working together and nothing can break that bond. Nothing can come in between y'all. So everything you set your face out to do, you're going to achieve it. Then when it comes to spirituality, man shall leave his mother and father and have a wife, and they shall become in one flesh. Spirit is now shared. It is going to be, once you have those 4 concepts together, or any 4 concepts that you could base your relationship off of. You get those 4 concepts. A lot of people try to say, add on to other. You got to understand, your concepts is as an umbrella. Spirituality or religion is just not. A lot of people think it's just like how C. Greasy said it. He said religion, as in up under Christianity. There's so many different. But I believe it's all about your spirit, because a religion, if you actually look at the basis of religions, they have used one book to cause so much division. That's not what a unity is. So I don't think that learning what unity is from something that causes division, I think you should take that textbook, sit down, break it down yourselves. That's going to bring you two together. You don't have to say, "Oh, we Baptist." One of them can be Methodist, the other can be Baptist. That's how maybe those Buddhists and those Christians got together, and that's how they was able to make it work for 40-something years. Because they didn't look at the dogma, they didn't look at the doctrines, they looked at the teachings of that book, the love, truth, peace, justice, and freedom that it taught, and they accepted it for themselves. And once you do that, everything else is just handed to you.
Yeah, and see, to piggyback off of that, I'll even put in my own personal experiences with this. So I'm only going to say about 2. And the 2 is, I dated one woman who, she believed in science. Now, for those who know me on my channel, I'm Baptist Christian, right? So she believed that science, like the religion of science, pretty much. Now, this girl loved
to be excluded from Scientology. Just want to make that clear. My fault.
Right. So she loved anime. She loved Marvel. She loved sports, which is amazing because all that entails with me as well. She loved working out. So did I. But when it came to the belief portion, that with me did not resonate well. So like long-term wise, it just wasn't going to work. And she tried to work it out with me. I tried to work it out with her. But because of the belief part, when we started getting dead serious, outside the sexual, and we actually have conversations, it just never lined up. And when I'm looking into the future of, raising my young, you feel what I'm saying? I'm looking into the part where it's okay, during the week or whatever, however you want to break it down, I'm teaching my young this, and then my wife may be teaching them something else. So pretty much they're growing up believing in 2 different things that's completely different, which in my household, I would want, my kids to believe in the same thing that I believe in, and my wife believes in the same thing that I believe in as well. So therefore we can teach them the exact same thing. So they get the same word, but twice the amount of knowledge. So that's how I'm looking at it. I also dated another female woman who, she didn't believe necessarily in Scientology. She did believe in science, but she didn't believe in a specific God. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like Buddhism, Christianity, atheist. It wasn't anything of religion. She just believed that there was a higher power, and she didn't know what to call it. So I tried to work that out with her as well, because she was also, one of those women who lined up with just about a lot of the things that I have high interest in. But when it came to the religious part, it just wasn't working out. And not even me thinking about my kids or anything, but it just wasn't working out between us. Because my core values, my character, all that, it stems around the belief of baptism, right? So therefore, if my moral code and you're breaking that as my partner is not lining up, then we are not going to move any further, because there's certain barriers that I have within myself that if you break them, you're disrespecting me type thing. So a lot of that stems from baptism, how I was brought up, the church, things of that nature. So therefore, if, just from my experience, I haven't dated a woman who, let's say, believed in a completely different religion, and we just got along together so well that kind of almost didn't matter. That's just me on how I believe. I do believe that the religion portion, you guys do have to match up on some type of degree. You know what I'm saying? At least believe in the same God. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. At least believe in the same God. You may have different practices, but if the same God you're praising to is the same, you're going to do all right. You know what I'm saying? Because if an atheist is trying to get with a Christian, y'all match up on everything. You know what I'm saying? Except for that part. If that's you and you watching this video, please tell me how you did, because I don't think that'll go and work in the long run. You know what I'm saying?
I can actually see that working though. Because one thing I do believe in is I believe that if your core values don't match up, it don't matter what God you're praying to. Mm-hmm. Because there's priests out there touching little boys out there teaching you about your God.
Yeah, pedophilia. Yeah.
Exactly. So, right there, I just feel like it doesn't come down to, for the most part, I don't think it comes down to the name. I do believe God is just a title. And I believe that he did tell Moses in the Bible his name. And that's the name that I choose to refer to my God to. But as long as I know that who you are actually worshiping is the God of Moses, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the one who sent, Yahshua down here just to, teach us what we need to learn in order to be able to live the life that will make us favorable to the Father. I mean, that's just what the book says. What the preacher says, I don't put stock into what the preacher says. You know what I'm saying? The preacher has said a lot. And the preacher has also done a lot. And I'm talking about my own grandfather. You know what I'm saying? I grew up Baptist as well. I had a great, thankfully my mother's maternal mother was she already knew who our nationality was. We had already claimed, which we'll talk about a little later on, you know what I'm saying? And that's where I learned about the sharing of cultures from. The simple fact that what she was teaching me and what my grandfather was preaching was the same thing, just in a different bowl. Like it's the same cereal, just in a different bowl. You know what I'm saying? And once I realized that, I was able to see that there's so many ways, and that's why I study history. That's why I study history, and that's why I study law. And with both of those, see the reason why you have to study history in order to understand law is because those laws had to come into effect somehow, some way. Something happened. Miranda warning. The Miranda warning got set in place because there was a person whose last name was Miranda who got violated like a mug. So they took them to court, sued the police department, and won. So now they said across the whole the police departments, in order to question anybody, you must read them the Miranda rights. That's a law. That's how it came in effect. You have to understand the history of it in order to understand if it's an actual real law or if it's a policy. So when I got taught my history, you know what I'm saying, and I understood what was going on, it was more of, okay, are you an extremist? You know what I'm saying? Like, Are you an Islamic extremist? Are you a Christian extremist? Are you a Buddhist extremist? Are you a Taoist extremist? Are you whatever? Are you that type of extremist where you would take a life for what you believe in? I believe that we are way past the days of Isaac and Abraham.
The Lex Talionis era.
Yes.
Yep.
It's okay. So I'm talking to an educated man.
That's right.
It's been a long time since I heard that. But you have to understand that once you are in a position of power, you can't let your pride take over. You can no longer have pride. You can be proud of the things that you've done, but you can no longer have pride. And that is where people who get into those relationships, they get that pride. I got him. I got him. I got him. Ooh, and they get that big head. And that big head, they makes them a narcissist. Once they become a narcissist, now they start treating that person who they got. They spend all this time all this time busting their head up against the wall and, opening doors and, you know what I'm saying, paying for every date, you know what I'm saying, making sure the lights stay on or some shit. They now that they got them, they got that big head, and now they start treating that person like shit. And then when they lose them, they be like, That's because their core values wasn't in place. But guess what? That person was a Methodist. That woman was a Methodist. They met in church. So it all comes down to, what is your religion teaching you? Is it teaching you core values about how to be a human on this planet, this realm that has been corrupted so badly? Can you gain a character, keep your character, and die with your character intact? If you can't, you don't deserve the right one or the right man.
Yep, there we go. And this is where it entails.
When the time comes, all my niggas gon' stand beside me. Even if they wrong, I'm riding. I ain't going that shit, I'm sliding. Gotta keep my head above the clouds, yeah. I done lost so much, I need it now, yeah. Gotta be the one they told me quit these niggas.